Good day, market research professional students. Welcome to my channel Barefoot Researcher. So today I am coming with a new topic called the correspondence analysis in marketing research using SPSS. It's a very quick tutorial. I will share the link for the detailed tutorial in the description box. So let us start today. I will be coming with an example, and with that example I will explain what are the steps in SPSS and how to interpret those results. Let us do the today's case analysis. So before going into the SPSS for statistical analysis, let us understand what is correspondence analysis. Correspondence analysis is basically we try to relate row and column variables. In this example, you can see that I have taken 7 brands, right? It's a mobile brand, so it's starting from Realme, Vivo and Apple, 7 brands, and these brands are compared with respect to the 6 attribute that is across columns. So price, camera quality, camera battery life and performance specification. So this is the sample black form. You can see this is a sample form I am going to distribute among my respondent. So my respondent will respond based on their preference. Like for a price, I will tick only Realme and Motorola. For camera quality, I can click all seven brands. So it is up to the researcher or the respondent to tick whether to tick one brands or multiple brands again particular attributes. So when I distribute this among the 80 respondent, then I collect the response sheet, and then the populated response sheet will be looking like this. This is called the correspondence table. Like it's a frequency table. You can see the price for Realme, 72 respondents say yes, or price for Apple, 30 people say yes. So this is basically a frequency table, and when I will be doing the SPSS analysis, this table will be converted into the this form. And the left hand side you can see that the brands as well as the price, we compared all brands against price, and these frequencies are coming over here. So just you take this let's say you take this row, I copy it, I paste it here, right? So I do the transpose. Same way I do the frequency against each brands. For price I do copy, again I do transpose here, right? So I do transpose here. So that's the way that whole table is built up. So left hand side you can see the table over here. So when I will be uploading the SPSS, that the Excel file onto the SPSS, then the file will be looking like this. So I will show you the final for the analysis. So here you can see this. Here all 7 brands are compared against this 6 attributes starting from the price to performance quality. These are the frequency. Okay, now let us go and see this same data file when I upload onto the SPSS. So here I attach this Excel file with the SPSS, and it looks like this. But what you observe here very importantly, brands, it is mentioned over here basically as a string variable, right? So A is mentioned over here, and attributes also mention A. So if I like to do the correspondence analysis with this kind of measure, I am not able to do this. So we need to change it. So if we look at the variable view, it shows it's a string variable. So it has to be converted into the numeric, right? So how to convert that into the numeric variable? Let us go. I can do it automatically. So first I go to this is transform, and I go the automatic recode. So I can see the brands over here. I need to give the new name over here. Let's say it's a brands recode. So I add name over here. So once I place OK, so that new column will be added. So here they give the coding for that. If I look at the SPSS out, that is a file. So you can see that brands recode is named, and here this time it's not a string, where rather than it's a numeric, right? So let us do it for the attribute, right? So when I do again same thing, I do it for the automatic recode. I take this one here, right? And I take brand attributes on the right hand side. I rename it again. This is attribute recode. Once I add the name, I press OK, right? Now again it is recoded. Fine. Then let me have a look of my data set. You can see it here. Now if I look to the variable view, now this converted into the numeric, right? So one thing is remaining, since it's a frequency, like let's have a the frequency column, and this is basically a frequency of the Realme for price, so it needs to be weighted. For doing this operation, I go to the data, I select the weight cases. I need to do this operation on the frequency column, select it. Okay, so when I say okay, then the case will be weighted. You can see it here. Then the output file, the weight by frequency. Now my data set is ready to start the correspondence analysis. So my data set, when I go first, I go to the analyze, right? I go to the, since it's a combination of factor analysis and dimension reduction, so I can get this option from the dimension reduction. We call that correspondence analysis. In the correspondence analysis, we need to put this into now row and column. So brands are coming across column and attributes are coming across row, right? Once I bring the attribute across rows, so what are the, how many attributes I have taken? You remember that the final data, that the initial data file, so 1 to 6 attribute I have taken for this analysis. So I put maximum to minimum to maximum. Same way, when I come to the columns, how many brands I have taken? I have taken 7 brands. So I consider 1 to 7 over here. 1 to 7. I update the orders. Okay, so continue. So I have set the row and column with attributes and brands. Now I need to go for the model. Model is a two-dimensional, because I need to plot in a two-dimensional plot. And here for the model analysis, I am using chi-square measure, right? So once its chi-square is set up, then I go to the statistics. In the statistics, you see the correspondence table, the frequency table that I have shown in the Excel. Similar thing we will see it in the output result. Then overview of row points. This is basically the relative frequency of row cell, and same way the relative frequency of the column, across column. So once we have that, I need to have a plot of row and column profiles. Here I will get a separate table for row. What is stands in the row? Row is across attributes. What is column? Across brands, right? So we can see the coordinate for brands and coordinate for attributes. So when I have said this, I click it OK. Then I go to the plot. In the plot, you will get by default by plot. We call the by plot, means we put the brands and attribute on the same plot, two-dimensional plot. That is a by default choice. It is coming by plot. It's a visual presentation. Now I like to take only row point. So what is a row point? Across row, only attribute plots. So I can also take only brands plot. So it's a column points, right? So I can get 3 plots over here. So once I have the setting, let us do continue, and then I start my correspondence analysis with the SPSS setting. So this is coming up. So first is what you can see it here, that this is the corresponding table, right? And this is the frequency table. So what you can see it here, one additional column, you can see active margin. Active margin is basically the summation of row total. So if we add 20 from 24 40, it is a 248. So it's called the row total. At the same way, active margin lower side, you can see the column total, right? And altogether it is 1604, 1604. Now when it comes to the row profile, it's a relative frequency, right? What does it mean? Means is that if we consider this cell, it will be computed the relative importance across row. So what is a frequency here? 20. That should be divided by 248. So it comes 0.081. 20 divided by 248, it comes 0.081. The same way it is calculated for the column. So column, it will be same, like 20 divided by 154. So it will be coming 0.130. So this is just a summary relative frequency row and column cell. Now very importantly, it comes to the summary table. Summary table will give you the chi-square value. If it comes, chi-square is a 66.252. So you can see it's here, it's a significant. So there is a significant relationship between the row and column variables. So across row attribute, across column it's a brand. This is significant association, and I have two dimension, right? For two dimension accounts for 0.484 proportion of inertia, right? So these are to understand that how many dimension we used and how much cumulative proportion of inertia it is explained by the two dimension. It is very good, right? Two dimension is enough to represent the row column relationship. Now comes to the overview of row point. Here I can only get the attribute pointer, right? You can see the 6 attributes are here, and score in dimension. Score in dimension is mostly we use this x value and y value for xy plot. Same thing, if I take a battery life, you see that across x dimension 0.371, across y dimension it is -120. Same way we can plot the rest of the 5 attributes. So it's a two-dimension plot. We call the row plot, right? That we'll get it from here. And the second important thing, across dimension 1, you can see which one is the highest contribution. If we see the across dimension 1, you see that the build quality is the highest contribution, 0.286. When it comes to the dimension 2, you can see build quality is the highest contribution here, right? So this is a contribution of attribute across two dimension. Now when it comes to the column, similarly for column there are seven brands are there, Apple to Xiaomi, and you can have the same scoring dimension used to plot in XY. So when I like to plot Apple, it's a X dimension 0.096, Y dimension -0.12, sorry, for Apple it's a -128, and for dimension 2 it is a -0.663. So these two are used to plot the Apple brands in a two-dimensional plot, and this is called the column plot. So when it comes to that contribution, you can see dimension wise, when you come to the dimension 1, who is contributing most? Samsung, 0.457. When it comes to that dimension 2, which is contributing most? Apple, 0.477. Now when it comes the visual display, we can see it here. The visual display is basically, we call that a row plot. Here only we get the plot of 6 attributes. Okay, so these 6 attributes are placed in x and y, right? So when it comes to the column, it's only the brands are plotted against the two dimension, dimension 1 and 2. But very importantly, we will be having the biplot for interpretation. So for better visuality, I plot the axis over here. So I put it here. Okay, then I also put here. Fine. So can you read this one? So if I became a little bit no, bigger, I'll zoom it. So we can see it here, the XY plot. Now it is clear that the brands and attributes are plotted across two dimension, dimension 1 and 2. When we call the dimension 2, Samsung is the highest contributing in this dimension. And which is dimension 2, right? If we consider about that the dimension 1, right, this dimension, you can see the build quality, camera quality, these are contributing this dimension. But when you compare with the brands, like take an example of camera quality, we see who are very close to this. It's a Vivo and Realme. They are very close to this. So we can say Vivo and Apple are very much associated with the camera quality. At the same time, if you look at the Apple and also the brand reputation, right, we can see these are highly correlated, this Apple and brand quality. So that's the beauty of correspondence analysis. In the correspondence analysis by plot, you can get idea that how the brands and relative attributes are positioned in two-dimensional place, right? For the greater analysis and insight, you can, like if you say the camera quality, you can connect this this attribute with the origin, and you can draw a straight line from this to this, and you can origin, and you can plot the other brand to that line, and you can get the relative importance among the brand for a camera quality. So I feel that's all from my side, and it's a very quick tutorial. And if you like to get more update, you can follow my other detailed video. So thank you for your time. So in the next video, I'll be coming with more details about the multiple correspondence analysis, and that time I'll be using the JNP software. So again, I welcome your views, comments, and that will motivate me to share more and more videos. I know it's a very quick tutorial, but you can follow my detailed tutorial. Thank you for watching this.